As dangerous as her external environment was, the internal environment was much worse. Oftentimes, she could be found hiding in the back of the closet, behind the clothes, to avoid the fists of her stepfather as he would seek her out to beat her. And all the while hoping for peace, hoping for protection, hoping for covering, and for love. Over time, she met a young man who was all those things. He was young and funny and a hard worker and kind. And they became instantly inseparable. And she found that covering and that protection in him. And within a year, unexpectedly, she discovered that she was pregnant. And those who had the strongest voices in her midst all said the same thing. Why would you let one mistake ruin your life? And faced with literally a life and death choice, a 17-year-old girl and an 18-year-old boy stepped up to the plate and said, "We choose life." And it was not easy. She was told by professionals that this is a non-thriving pregnancy, that your baby is not growing, something is wrong, and you need to abort. And all she knew is that in all the world, this tiny life has been entrusted to me for a reason that I don't understand, and I choose life. She gave birth 2 months early to a tiny 4-pound, couple-ounce baby boy. Everything changed. Everyone made sacrifices. Everyone pressed in as they worked hard to build a life. Life thrived, and their baby boy did not stay tiny. Following in the footsteps of his diligent parents, he learned the beauty and power and value of hard work and earning a right for the things that you need in this life. And with a pick and a pry bar and a shovel and a hammer, he grew from 4 pounds, a little bit of nothing, into a muscular 6'3", 225-pound beast of pure try-hard. And then, as only Jesus can, he used every day of what the world says is too hard. It's too much suffering. It's too difficult. Take an easier route. God used every day of that season in his life like a fiery furnace, tempering him and making him stronger and stronger and stronger. And all of that was necessary for everything that God was calling into being. And this young man at 19 met the love of his life. He met his soulmate, and 2 years later they were married. And with little more than a dream, they, hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, moved to the mountains, pushed their sleeves up and just got to work. And they worked hard. And again, every day of the hardship that he had survived and endured was needed to build the ministry that God was designing him to lead. And he led well, following in the footsteps of his beloved parents. And now, after 25 years, he is looking back on a ministry that God in part has called through him to lead for a quarter of a century. And because of what only Jesus Christ can do through a life that multiple times was said, he's a reject, leave him. But that's not what love does. Love builds a home and moves forward, and you don't have to know the way. You just have to take the next step. And Jesus promises he will be with us every step of the way. And now, through that difficult upbringing, not only has this ministry that this man was called to do been in existence for 25 years, in part through him, now over 200 more ministries have come into existence, and that many more that are in process to carry the gospel of the hope of Jesus Christ around the world, all from the tiny, tiny baby who was carried by a woman that said, "Love presses in." And you know this man. He's the love of my life. He's my soulmate. And his name is Troy Meter. And his young, beloved, heroic mother, her name is Esther. And I will spend the rest of my days in such gratitude to her, not doing what was easy, but doing what was right, because that's what love does.